What you are aware of, you are in control of. What you are not aware of is in control of you. I recently heard this quote a couple days ago, and it's from a lecture given by Anthony DeMello. And it was one of those quotes that just like hit me and stopped, and I haven't stopped thinking about it. And it's only been a couple days, but I wanted to talk about that, especially because the term awareness gets thrown around so much in the world of spirituality. And I wanted to share my experience and maybe bring down that term of awareness and actually talk about what it looks like in practice, at least what it did for me. Because awareness is one of those things, one of those practices that I implemented fairly early on, because that's one of the first things that I came in contact with outside of the religion that I grew up in, was these awareness meditations. And these meditations, these awareness practices, had a massive impact on who I am and what I've become. So one of the biggest things that I was able to do when I started to practice these awareness meditations was I was able to separate myself from my thoughts. I was able to disidentify from my thoughts. One of the practices that I found incredibly eye-opening in the beginning is a practice from Sam Harris. I don't know if he, started the practice, but that's where I heard it. And I'd like to try it really quick with you right now. And so the idea is I'm going to tell you to think of something. And I want you to think of the first thing that comes to your head and hold on to it. So think of a city. What was the first city that came to your head? And why was that not London or Paris or Salt Lake City or Ogden or Boise, Idaho? Like, why was it that city? Okay, think about that for a second. And then I'm going to tell you to think about something else. I'm going to ask you to think about one other thing. And this time, I want you to pay attention to how that thought came to you. Where did that thought come from? So right now, I want you to think of a band or a musical group. Okay, so where did that thought come from? If you pay attention, and you can continue to do this practice by yourself, but if you pay attention, you'll see that this thought kind of bubbles up out of nowhere. You're essentially blind to the process by which those thoughts come to your head. And what was interesting was I was able to find an observer of the thoughts. I was able to step back and say, these thoughts are coming up, and then I observe them coming up. And all of that to say, differentiating myself, whatever that is, to the thoughts I was also able, through the same kind of thought process, differentiate myself between my emotions and myself. It sounds cliche, but it was life-changing for me. It freed me from my thoughts. It freed me from identifying with my thoughts, and it freed me from identifying with my emotions. And it made me into a different person, and I would argue a better person. And where did that freedom come from? It came from awareness. It came from being aware of these things. And as the quote says, whatever you are aware of, you are in control of. And whatever you're not aware of is in control of you. And so this process of being more aware of my thoughts and emotions and separating myself from them, it gave me a whole new capacity, a whole new freedom to be able to not be controlled by my thoughts and not be controlled by my emotions. It made me a better father and a better husband. And my wife would attest to that. I am not at the mercy of my emotions. And to simplify this further, I've talked about this before, about pausing and responding rather than reacting. And that's ultimately what I think awareness has given me power and freedom to do, is to stop and pause, be mindful, be aware, and then respond to life, to a situation, to someone, rather than just reacting blindly. Because I really do think that there is some deep, deep truth to this quote, that what you are aware of you can control, and what you're not aware of is controlling you. and you're completely unconscious to it. Anyways, I hope that was interesting to you. If it was, stick around and I'll catch you in the next video. Oh, just rip my shorts? Oh, I did.